Hi, I'm Duo.
And I'm Shayla. And today we're going to be talking about learning.
Learning is behavior resulting from experience, which is nurture.
Learning is often defined as a relatively lasting change in behavior that is a result from experience.
The first topic we will be talking about is classical conditioning. Ivan Pavlov, a Russian psychologist, discovered this type of learning while studying the digestion of dogs. There are 4 factors that make up classical conditioning. An unconditioned stimulus is an original stimulus that elicits a response, like food. Another one would be an unconditioned response, which is a natural involuntary response. For example, the salvation.
And the conditioned stimulus would be the bell. Ultimately, his conditioned stimulus would be to drool whenever he heard a bell.
One of the most famous classical conditioning experiments was studied by John Watson and his lovely assistant, Rosalie Rayner. They conditioned a little boy named Albert to fear a white rat. Now, little Albert initially really liked white and fluffy animals, or rats in this case. After being repeatedly paired with the loud noise, Watson and Rayner taught Albert to cry when he saw the rat. In this example, the loud noise is the unconditioned stimulus because it elicits the involuntary natural response of fear, and in little Albert's case, crying. Anything, and that's enough for me. The once cute little rat is the unconditioned stimulus that becomes a conditioned stimulus, and the conditioned response is crying in response to presentation of the rat alone. In your eye you strike a match that lights my heart on fire. Little Albert also developed generalization, crying in response to a white rabbit, a man's white beard, and a variety of other white fluffy things. But it brings me to my knees when you say hello, how are you, my darling? Today I fall into a pile on the floor. Puppy love is hard to ignore. When every little thing you do, I do adore. Observational learning was studied by Bandura. Observational learning is said to be species-specific, and it only occurs within the same species. For example, if a parent shows aggressive behavior, then the child would show similar aggressive behavior towards specific things. We're opposites in every way, but I can't resist it when you say. B.F. Skinner was one of the first people to research operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is a kind of learning based on the association of consequences with one's behavior. B.F. Skinner also came up with something called the Skinner box, which was a box he experimented with that was a way to deliver food to an animal and a lever to press and discs to get the food, which helped him discover positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is the addition of something pleasant, for example, giving a present. A negative reinforcement refers to the removal of something unpleasant. For example, when you get into your car and you forget to put on your seatbelt, that beeping noise is so irritating that you're forced to put on your seatbelt to remove that awful sound. When every little thing you do, I do. We also have positive punishment, which is the addition of something unpleasant. For example, the addition of chores. Then there's negative punishment, which would be the removal of something pleasant. For example, taking away your phone. Now let's talk about primary reinforcers and secondary reinforcers. Primary reinforcers are like and in of themselves rewarding. For example, food, water, and our necessities. Our second reinforcers are things we learn to value or praise, like having the privilege to play a video game on our free time. There's another type of learning called latent learning.
Latent learning is the hidden learning that only manifests itself when reinforcement is offered. For example, your knowledge of the various routes in your hometown. You know almost all of the routes around your hometown, but you're not using each route every single day. It's only when you need to find a specific location, such as a restaurant or a bus stop, that you're required to draw on and demonstrate what you have learned previously.
Last but not least, there is fixed ratio, variable ratio, fixed interval, and variable interval. Fixed ratio means that it provides reinforcement for a set of number of responses. For example, an ice cream stamp card that requires 9 stamps before you get a free ice cream card. Variable ratio means that there's a reinforcement based on the number of bar presses, but number varies. For example, there is a slot machine at a casino, but the slot machine players have no way of knowing how many times they have to play before they will win. But they play anyways, knowing that eventually they will win.
Fixed interval is when it requires a certain amount of time elapsed before a bar press results in a reward.
For example, an employee receives reinforcement every 7 days, which may result in a higher response as payday approaches. Variable interval is when the amount of time required to elapse for a response will result in reinforcement. For example, you would keep checking your email when your email schedule is unpredictable.